evening once again, and welcome to our Live Doctrine Call program. And it is a pleasure, as always, to be with you and to share information that can help enhance your wellness. Of course, Doc is with me this evening as usual, as always. And, very importantly, we know that school is now on vacation and a lot happened. So we'll be looking at some aspects of that. We'll also probably briefly touch on the issue of primary health care and tie that into, our school children being on vacation now and the responsibility of parents. We also in the carnival season. So there's a lot of important things that we need to be paying attention to at this time that can, if not attended to or not dealt with properly, can, severely impact our health and the health of our children. So we welcome all our viewers on GBN Television, 711, our Facebook page, YouTube channel, and our listeners on K105 FM. Doc, good evening, and it's really good to be back. How are you?
I'm better. My voice is tentative, but I'm here. Certainly don't feel like I did last week. So I miss you guys. It's really nice being back. But last week was challenging. I'd be coughing for the whole time.
Yes.
So here we are today.
I understand, and it's good to be back. We've been getting nice weather. Well, a number of tropical waves. They're coming across. Not terrible. Not creating any problems per se, but we should not take that for granted because the truth is we're not yet in the heat of the hurricane season. We are in it, but of course,
as we had a hurricane already. Okay.
Yes.
Let's get real.
Yes, we did. But the real things when we start seeing serious development is when we start hitting August and into September. But let's hope that what is happening now holds true for safety. We're seeing what's happening around the world.
Can't hear you.
Yeah, we're seeing what's happening around the world, and so, don't think for once that what you see happening in places like Texas and Greece and other countries, it won't happen here. It can happen here. All right. Doc just said last year, July 1st, Hurricane Beryl. So, Doc, our children are on vacation. And very importantly, we have to be paying attention. We know parents still have to work, and so they have to provide. So there are obligations and commitments that they have to meet. But at the same time, the children are commitments that they have as well to ensure that they're safe, they're healthy, and so one has to be able to make the right decisions, and sort of ensure that everything works well, in the best way possible. So while you do what you have to do, you can do it feeling assured or feeling comfortable that our children are safe.
I'm losing you.
I'm not sure why.
I'm not hearing you. Okay.
Is it better?
Yeah, but it keeps going in and out.
Okay.
So we're on holidays, and every year we come at this point and we talk about being on vacation like we didn't know it was going to come from last year. So a lot of us have not really made true plans. It's like we know in September everybody's going to be scrambling on August 31st and the first week in September to find clothing for their children and uniforms. We tend to do things a little late. But guess what? Our children are on vacation. And so our children become, for the most part, the sole responsibility for the entire day, for the most part, of their parents. When we have school, there are these 8 hours more or less where you don't have to worry about your children's supervision. Who looks after them? who thinks about who's responsible for the physical safety until they go back home, who's responsible for spiritual guidance, which is also a very important part. An example, the way you talk, the way you behave, the way you respond, the way you carry yourself, right? They're in the school environment, and those attributes are contributed to by the environment in which they find themselves. Do you shout all the time? Do you run up and down? Do you run into the streets? Those are the things that the teachers are usually there and try to put as much of control as possible, or they should. We talk also about the social interactions. If you're in a class, you have 20 other people, 30 other people, whatever amount of other people are there in the class, at least you have those people with whom you can interact socially. Your brother and sister, yes, may be in the same school, but the bottom line is that there are these 20 people with whom you share most of your day. So you talk, you share ideas, you share your book, you do work together, you go outside and play together. If you do go outside, whatever it is, there's that. My friend. I have a friend, especially among the little children. Older kids tend to have this one or two people with whom they react or with whom they interact. But if we look at our school age, that is primary school age kids, they tend to have, the little groups that they all do stuff together. The boys kick football in the schoolyard, the girls talk about stuff, or they share stuff on the internet, whatever it is. In my time, we used to do a lot of needlework and stuff, so we have a look at pan with a look at needlework and crochet and those stuff. Kids have different interests at this time. Right, so there's that thing of social interaction, which does influence how children behave. I would behave like my friend, or it morphs what you already learned at home, so you learn to behave like somebody else, or you take on some of their attributes. Right? One of the things that we tend to forget is when children in school, for the most part, their regular meals are prepared, are available. Mm-hmm. There's school feeding program for people who have the financial and economic challenges, but we know that these kids are going to have their meals. And that's one of the areas I want us to look at specifically tonight. And I want the community to take into consideration that there are a percentage of our children who live in environments where getting their meals, getting wholesome meals is a challenge when they're not at school. It's one thing for it to happen Saturday and Sunday, but it's a different thing for it to happen from Sunday to Saturday. Okay, that there's no real guarantee that it'll be proper meals for whatever reason. And I'm not criticizing the families who cannot. I'm just saying I'm empathizing with the families who are unable to provide even 2 proper meals, preferably 3 proper meals for their children every day. And so as community, as physical, spiritual, emotional, whatever kind of community we have, social communities, we have to take into consideration that group of especially vulnerable children. Including, we must take into consideration the children who have special needs. Because sometimes we tend to forget the children who are physically disabled, who are slower learners, who don't hear very well, who are visually impaired. Those are also part of our child population that do not find themselves in that safe space every day, and must be supervised, must be supported in order to be able to, live a more or less a normal life. Right? It also can become a bigger burden on parents when they have disabled children. So we have to take all of these into consideration. Also, the mental stimulation of children acquire, they have to do work. There's a curriculum that they must follow. Right? We know if you're I don't know what used to be ABC, you have to learn 2 and 3 and 4 times table by the end of the first term. Right? If you go to school and if you don't learn anything in the summer, you actually tend to forget a lot of the information. So what do we do with our children? How do we stimulate them mentally? Okay? How do we stimulate them mentally and give them an opportunity when they're not really learning academically structured things to learn other things? Do we encourage them to read? Do we encourage them to play games that help with their intellect and their cognition and helps with their ability to reason and to make decisions and all those? Because those are things that you can do in a holiday. Do we make them get another skill? Right? Do I learn to ride bicycle? Do I learn to swim? Do I learn to fling stone after mango? Whatever it is. What else am I doing? So that's a mental stimulation, right? What other things? Other people teaching me that is not. physical safety. I want us to go back to that because I want us to take into consideration the issue of abuse, physical, sexual, emotional, neglect, whatever it is, right? When parents have to go to work and there's nobody to really supervise, you can tell somebody, throw an eye. And there may be extended family, but extended family does not exist as widespread as it used to 20 and 30 years ago. That's the bottom line. Parents are younger, families are smaller, single parents have to go to work in order to be able to put bread on the table every day. Right? And of course, taking care of the general hygiene. Child's going to school, he gets up in the morning, he has a bath or he got a little wash, probably take a big bath in the evening, but he puts on clean clothes, He goes to school, he's reminded to wash his hand, he will brush his teeth in the morning, brush his teeth. Some kids brush their teeth during school day. During the school day, they have an ongoing program. And general thing, you go to the bathroom, wash your hand. Because you eat regularly, you go to the bathroom to do number 2 more regularly. You learn to keep your clothes clean because you still have to take the bus side to go. If you go home with dirty clothes, you and your mother are going to fight. The bottom line is that there's that structure. Because there's supervision and because school demands that, among other things. What are we doing, one as a community, one as a country, 2 as smaller communities, what policies are in place, what structures are in place, and as families, and how can children individually, contribute to themselves being fulfilled. Mommy says we must stay home. I have to wash the dishes and sweep the yard and make up the beds or change the linen on the beds. Am I doing that? Right? Am I looking at good things on TV? Because there's always infiltration of negative programs that children are not supposed to be seeing. Is that environment controlled? Right? So being out of school, there's a lot at stake, especially since parents have to work. And often grandparents are also working, or we don't live in an environment where there's extended family. So those are the things I worry about. And while there are parents who can afford to send a children to camp for 4 weeks or so, and then they take vacation at the end of the year, at the end of the school term, there are some patients who just don't have that facility, just do not have the ability to take a vacation and to pay for camp. I see some camps like $300. That's still out of reach for a lot of parents, okay? Because you still have to find bus fare and give them snacks and stuff to go to school and clothes every day. And it's not like when you go to school, you have uniform. The children want to look nice and they don't want to have to go with the 1 or 2 little outfits that they have every day, so they get bullied and all the rest. So those are the things I want us to consider. We could go back through them one by one as we go through this program, but those are the stuff, especially for our younger children. Our older children, like our high school and recent high school graduates, have a little. It's a little different for them because they are a little more independent. But I think it's a good time for our children to learn other skills. I was talking to a young man today, who just graduated high school, and told me he was working in a supermarket. Very bright young man. And I said to him, good for you. You're occupied. You learn to manage your time. You learn to cooperate with staff, regardless of what level the staff is. Right? Guess what? You also learn how you keep inventory. And you learn why you put stuff, how a supermarket is set up, and why you put stuff one way or not the other. How we classify foods, how we classify materials, the objects that are sold in the supermarket. There's so much you can learn, you'll be surprised. I was sharing with him how when I first migrated to the US and I was not yet working, I would volunteer at the library. They had this very vibrant library. You see these grandparents coming with all their grandchildren or parents in the afternoon. Library's always busy, okay? And I learned a lot of librarian skills. Things that I took for granted, couldn't forget why those numbers were on the books. And I learned why they were there. And I can go and take a stack of books and know exactly how do I classify, how do I put it. And for me, that was getting a whole new skill. And I was no kid. So it's a really good time for us to encourage our children to get to the skills. I tell all my young girls to go learn to drive. I think every young woman should have the skill, should learn to drive. I think it creates a real great space, independent space in their lives. And we know that most of our professionals and more girls go to university than boys. That is established, okay? But who is providing, are preparing facilities for our children? Do we just start guessing at this time, and wonder, what do we do? Where the safety? So one of the things I know, I think parents are principally the ones responsible for ensuring that our children are safe, or ensuring our children are stimulated. A lot of our kids have their books early in the year, early in the holiday. I don't know about you, but I used to have my books had to be, my father insisted my books be dog ear. They tried when you find dog ear, put dog ears in the book, using your hand. But you had to read your books before school. Before school started, you had to have an idea. You may not understand anything or everything, but at least be familiar with the information that was there. And that made me, I could get a chance to talk in class and all the other things that I did because I already had some fundamental knowledge. And I didn't fall back. Right? So I want parents to understand why it is that you still have to encourage your children to go to the library, get books to read online, read. And we know that our children have a lot of challenges with reading, especially our boys. This is a nice time for us to be able to pick up on that, right? Mm-hmm. And not just look for negative things, good things to happen for our children, right? Not worry much about the negative. But sometimes community has to come up and do this. The church, the police club, whatever other situation, community organizations are there, have to figure out how we're going to keep our children engaged and safe and with a belly full. Okay? It is going to have to be a community event. It's a little difficult because we always talk about it takes a village. Well, the village has become a kind of household now. Where do we how do we reintegrate village activities? I don't know. Do you know of anything that the sports councils are doing in communities in the various parishes?
Yeah, I know. There are a number of programs.
I can't hear you.
There are a number.
I'm not hearing you.
I'm not sure why you're not. I'm not understanding this. All right.
You obviously are hearing me, but I'm not hearing you.
Yeah. I'm not sure why you're not. From my end, it looks pretty good. So I am not sure. Is it any better or are you hearing me any better? Are you not? Oh boy. I'm not sure why you're not hearing me, but well, you let me know. I'm saying though that yes, I am aware of some of the some programs. I know, for example, the GFA, they do have some football programs. I think there's some cricket programs, going on where children can actually get involved. I also know that there's summer schools. There are people who do summer schools. I've actually seen some advertisements for summer school on Facebook. So there are some things that are happening, and it's important that children do get involved, because we also have to remember that we are at a time when there is a major distraction to a lot of things, of course, which is Carnival. Are you able to hear me at all now, Doc? I'm not sure.
I'm just now able as you ask the question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So I
was not hearing anything.
Yeah, I was saying that yes, I am aware of. I know, for example, the GFA, they do have some programs. I know there's some cricketing programs. I know there's summer school taking place, and I was saying that with all of that, we are at a time when there's a major distraction, which is Carnival. So there are a lot of carnival activities. You look on social media and you would see children already involved in jab and yes and things like that. It worries me to see that kind of thing, because you ask yourself, where is this heading? And it's a little concerning to me. I mean, I cannot dictate to people what they do or what they do not do, but it is a little concerning, and I can only use, for example, myself as a yardstick. During my time as a young boy growing up, you could probably, when the jab and shot knees are practicing, you can follow, but you dare not. In fact, as a young boy, we did not have, people putting the oil and tar on themselves before Carnival Day. They would practice. I know on night times they would practice, sing their songs and so, but, it was different. It was different. But now things have changed significantly, and you have these things happening. It's already happening,
Is it because parents don't have a place for their children to be?
Well, that's the thing. I don't think so.
I they don't have activities in which their children can engage.
Well, look, I really don't think so, because sometimes when you look at these things, the parents are also involved. So the children are with the parents and that kind of thing.
So parents don't have alternative activity for their children?
Well, apparently not. But you question yourself about that. There are some events. Or there are some things that as you grow, you learn that there are some things that are for adults and there are some things that are for children. I'll give you an example. Growing up as a little boy, for example, even on Carnival Day, children would play jab, but what we used to do, we would use cliff. So we would go to the river, get some cliff get the cliff, you chop it up, and you use that with water and you put on your skin. Now that was children's job. But when you turn a big man, then you can use, and in those days we used tar, they used tar, right? So, but things are different. You don't see that anymore. No, I don't even know if children nowadays know that you can use cliff to put on your skin and play jab.
That's true, that jab, what do you?
So, but it happened here, and that was how children played, the carnival. So the cliff was to kind of help you graduate into big man to play big people jab. But now you're seeing parents, children, everybody.
That's funny, because I'm sure that there are people who are listening to us tonight who have activities happening in the community. I wish they would share them on the Facebook page or on your WhatsApp. So please share the contact. The people who are there. It would be good to hear what is happening in communities, because maybe communities have the right lot of activity for their children. That we don't know about. And as I asked you about the National Sports Council, they have parish bodies.
Yeah, they do have grassroots programs.
You're gone again. Your volume is gone again.
Okay.
The National Sports Councils have parish bodies, and I don't know what are the activities. I haven't seen it advertised. Maybe it have been on platforms where I don't really visit. I know, for example, for adolescents, there's Sing Grenada, which I think is a very great initiative. With the young artists, I've seen Jefferson, I've seen Jonathan Francis, but it comes from the part of the ministry that does arts and called arts. That group.
Right. Doc, we have a caller on the line, so I don't know if they want to share something. Let's probably go to the telephone and see who is with us. Yeah. Doctor on call, good evening. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Hello?
Yes, good evening. Go ahead. We're hearing you.
Okay, can you turn on the radio, please? Okay, sorry. Yeah, let me... Sorry, excuse me.
Speak into the phone.
Yeah, good night to you, Mr. Godfrey, and whatsoever.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello, you there?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Go ahead.
I'm losing you guys.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. We're hearing you.
Turn on the phone, boy.
I'm hearing you. Are you there?
Oh yeah, I'm there. Yes, sir. Now, I will put a little few cents on the school holidays. Now, a long time when I was in school, when school gave the 6 weeks, you see some of us were in the garden, with our parents, we go to a mechanic shop, or we go to a tailoring shop or the sewing place and learn a little trade, whatever. But no, we used to get money, but we learning the trade, we learning the mechanic, we learning all different things when school give holidays. But now, although the school now give holidays, but I was telling two plans today that no matter the horticulture school is from a school is good, but I don't know if they teaching them inside. They like you're buying this crucial thing and make this kind of diary and thing for tables and whatsoever. So that's a very, very good thing for some parents to teach the children and to buy the roll of crochet and the pin and for them teach them to diary up the little things, and maybe when school give holidays and if they put school open and if they put that to use, that will help them a lot back to go to school, because they will be doing the good works with the crochet, different things like the heart and thing, like the wool heart or whatever. So that's a very, very good things for them children, because I see right now one thing, although the school now give holiday, but it's a bunch of them start to roam over the place, and especially for especially for the young, like the teenagers and them who is going to high school. So I would not like for anything to happen to them. So let me hope that they gone back to school very clean.
Okay, thank you very much, caller. Thanks. Yeah. All right. He was making reference to.
I still can't hear you. Okay.
All right. Yeah, I know. I don't know. I'm not sure why. It is dropping on and off. In any event, so the gentleman was making reference to activities that took place then during holidays, like the children visiting, going to the tailor shops to learn and to do stuff.
You're kind of back, but quietly.
Yeah, I'm actually. Let me see what is happening here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you actually very well. But I'm seeing my.
I just want to comment on what the gentleman said. I'm not hearing you clearly, but it comes. It's the same thing we're saying. But where are our community people to invite? Our church community, people in the community. If you're a mechanic, you probably see the young boys. Would you invite them to come? Because one of the things we've spoken about, especially because our children are so very different from our generation, right? Do we have the tolerance and the desire and the drive as adults to encourage young people? Because we spend so much time criticizing the young people. They belong to a different era. They have different influences. We spend a lot of time criticizing them without teaching them where they can have a better life. I can teach you this. Would you like to learn this? I'm inviting you guys to come here. We go into our schools and offer our services. So the kids, so our community and the school, flow into each other, right? What do we as community people do to make sure that our children are safe? Because that's what it ends up being, My child is safe. Is he growing? Or Mr. John's child, it doesn't really matter. Who am I teaching? What am I teaching them? What skills do I have? I remember my uncle, my cousins and my brothers is a cuss. But everybody, all the boys in my family know how to wire a building because my uncle was an electrical contractor. And while they will comment, while they will comment that he don't pay them, they all show off and tell them they know how to electrify a building. They know a lot of how to do electrical work. Because my uncle insisted that they come. Right? And whoever else wanted to come was quite welcome to. Are we extending ourselves like that as adults to make sure that our children can grow at a time when there's time and when we have the opportunity, right? Or are we just taking our friends' kids and leave the other kids out, right? It's the same thing, because I want to come back to that food thing, because I'm very concerned about that population of children who may not have access to regular healthy meals every day for the next 8 weeks.
In fact, Doc, I realize, I know. I'm not sure what is happening, but for some reason, my audio don't seem to be going through the system. I'm actually seeing it now. But I don't know what's happening. Doc, let me tell you what. Let's just take a short break. Let me see if I can have the guys. Well, it's back up now. I'm not sure. Yeah, you hearing me now, right?
Yeah, I just hear you.
Yeah, right. So there seemed to be some issue there with my audio going through. I can actually see.
I think you have a wire that's kind of cracked.
I do believe that because I'm actually seeing it now. Right. So one of the thing is, Doc, and you mentioned the nutrition. It's also part of the 8 elements of primary health care. So it's very, very important. Very, very important. Promotion of food supply and proper nutrition. And if children don't have that, then we do have a problem on hand.
Yes, we do have a problem on hand. And we already have problems during the school year, right? And when there is a certain amount of control, and as the time goes by, and we have a school nutrition policy that's going to be followed in the schools, because it's a policy, it's not law, but it's policy, and it's going to be implemented where we can ensure that the children have acceptably delicious, balanced meals, because that's what's important, right? I remember when we went to university, and we were in Havana, everybody cussed about what we got, and then one day we just sat and said, well, but this is a balanced, nutritious meal. You get some rice, you get a stack of vegetable, and you get some meat, and you get a dessert. Very balanced meal. You might get a glass of milk with that, right? But certainly in the morning, you get a glass of milk, right? And you get some bread and butter or bread or something. The bottom line is that we will not be able to provide steaks and stuff, but we must be able to provide delicious, nutritious meal for our children as they go to school. And there must be continuous. Our children need to be fed, and they need to have proper nutrition. Or every day, you can't decide which day you're not going to do it. It's one day you might go on a picnic and you eat foolishness, but you really should have nutritious meals every day, and that's one of the things I want us to figure out. How can we do this, and who will do this? Are we going to take a break still?
Well, the audio seems to be bouncing now, so I hope.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So. Like we said, the family is no longer a village, and people do their own thing. Everybody who can afford will send their children to summer school or send them to the auntie in foreign or wherever it is, right? But the village, it's going to have to happen as the time goes by, that the village prepares to receive its children when they no longer leave the village to go to the schoolhouse in the morning. And when the schoolhouse is in the village, the schoolhouse is going to have to be the place where life continues for the children, where there's safety, where other community members come and parents and everybody come together to ensure the safety and the well-being and the development and the happiness and the spiritual motivation and the mental stimulation of their children, and that hygiene becomes a thing that we take for granted. We bathe, even if we go down to the river, and all the rest of it. So we must be able to develop ways. We can't be guessing every year. We can't be guessing every year, what am I going to do about what are we going to do about our children? Okay? We can't be guessing every year, what are we going to do about our children? So that when a holiday comes, when they are there.
But Doc, let me ask you this though, as it relates to, I'm just sort of looking back and doing some comparisons. The level of care in some quarters that's shown now for children, do you think we've had a breakdown in that as compared to years gone by? And I'm saying that looking at some of the activities that you're seeing both parents and children are involved in, especially at this time.
And I guess you can look at it as Grenada and look at, like you say, especially at this time. you know, keeping our children safe, you have to, it ensures that we have a safe environment all around us, whether it's the physical environment or whether they're online and all the rest. Parents have different distractions and different responsibilities and a lot of occupation out, and there isn't much of, like I said, how do you call it? Bigger families, where we have extended families, your grandparents and aunties and stuff out there, where you can get, and because grandparents are younger, they remain working longer. Listen to me. Do you realize that the working age is going back up to 65?
Yeah.
So it means that people are not as home as early as they used to be 5 years ago, right? We are more independent. So whereas I would have, even if I were married, I'd probably still live home and have my children in my parents' setting. Now we all have our own homes, so we have that responsibility. I don't know whether we're ready to take it on independently, because I don't think we are. There are too many mitigators. There are too many challenges that we face every day. There are too many worries that we have, because it's not like my child is going to be X place for the holidays. No, it's not as simple as that. So I don't know whether our society is similar to days gone by. I think what we're having is because of development. The differences we're seeing in society, different societal behaviors we're seeing, is because society has evolved different from how you and I know it. It does not mean that our children don't deserve to be in a safe space. It does not mean that our children don't deserve to have healthy meals. It doesn't mean that our children don't deserve to get other skills and be happy and get seen by the doctor and all the rest in the summertime. And we talk about the summertime because it's longer. It's a long period, but Christmas is equally important, and Easter is equally important, because they have 2 and 3, another like almost 5 weeks that they're out of school, and the same needs exist. This is glaring because we have distractions like carnival and a lot of other strange people who might be in an environment who might not necessarily be safe for your children to be around, right? But once our children are not in school, there's always a question. Friday, Saturday, most parents are home because most people work Monday to Friday. But other to that, we have to find a space, a safe, very safe environment for our children to be and to grow.
But here is what worries me, Doc. In Greater, for example, we are not short of examples of some of the unpleasantness that happens and the dangers that are present where our children are concerned. We are not short of examples at all. But despite that, the level of care and attention has not changed. In other words, I'm saying that we have not stepped up our game, in showing some more interest, showing some more care as it relates to the safety. But when bad things happen, then we cry out and we cry for justice, and we protest, and we do all sorts of things. But
why do you think bad things happen?
Bad things happen. Bad things will always happen. But I do believe that there are measures that can be taken. Yeah, I noticed that. Let me just try something here and see if it's gonna work. Right?
Okay.
Is it?
There you go.
All right. No, it's not working.
I think you have a broken wire.
Yeah, there seemed to be a little connectivity problem here.
Okay, I can hear you.
All right. I don't know. It seemed to be.
You're gone again.
Yeah, it seemed to be going and coming. I'm actually seeing it here. So it is something that I'd probably have to ask the technicians to do some work on. I'm not sure. I do believe it's some kind of shorting with the equipment, but And I hope the people who are listening, all right, you should be hearing me now.
I am hearing you now.
Right. Yeah. So I'm saying here that bad things will always happen, but I do believe that there are measures that can be taken to minimize that kind of thing as it relates to the safety of our children. You know, but I somehow I don't believe that enough is done. You know, to ensure that level of safety that we require. This is my concern.
Again, it comes from the top, because we talk about it, but we don't hear the Ministry of Education or Social Development talking about any program. I have not heard it, right? That where our children are safe. So, in my community, there's some boys who ride bike, no helmet. Well, I never ride bike with helmet either, and my brothers ride like crazy people. But we didn't have half as many cars and half as many drunk, crazy, inexperienced drivers on the road. Okay, but we rode bike. But how do we ensure that our children are safe? Because they should be free to ride their bicycles. Okay, that's exercise. We want our children to go there and be very physically active. Riding bicycle is one way to do it, running up and down, playing cricket in the road, whatever it is. But we must ensure that there is safety. People who live in places like Caracou where they go boating and people go fishing, because there's a big boat culture. Do our children know about safety? Does every boat have a floater, or can all our children swim? Are we encouraging our children to go to the swimming classes that are freely offered in different parts of the country every year, and certainly in the holidays, but over the whole year? Are we encouraging our children to be able to be safe in water, all right, or even if they're on a boat, right? Sometimes our children, and I'm looking at the school-age children, sometimes they can cook, right? They can cook mac and cheese and fry egg and plantain and those things for themselves to eat, right? Make toast, make cup of tea, warm up food. But are they aware of the safety measures to prevent scalds and burns? How you control the gas? Do you turn the stove off? Do you light the match first before you turn on the gas? All of those things, very simple things are there. How do we prevent our children from falling and injuring themselves? One of the things we discovered this year was that our children's dexterity, their ability to maintain a rhythm and move without falling, was really down. So kids don't skip or run up and down, which is one of the things that give them balance and, you understand, and be able to be safe as you move around. They don't have that. So our children are basically old people, right? So when you give them a chance, you go up to your grandmother's house in the country, come from living in some little nice space, and you go to your granny house and all your cousins converge, but all of them live in other rural areas and you live in town. You're not accustomed to run up and down, you don't walk to school, you don't do anything. Are you able to keep up with your cousins? Not because you're anemic or you have any other health problems, but are you able to run up and down and play skip and cowboy and Indian and climb mango tree and do the things, right? And go in the river and fish, shove hand, and whatever you're going to do, right? Are you able to even go to the playground and swing and push the merry-go-round? Do you have that capacity? Okay? But above all, teaching kids, how can you prevent yourself from falling so you don't end up having a broken hand and a broken leg in 6 weeks? All right? Mm-hmm. Gun safety, well, fire safety, we talked about that, right? How much do our children know in relation to that? We're going to have to teach them. There's health and family life education and all those things. We're going to have to teach them all those survival skills. But your children, but you see, Scouts and brownies and stuff.
Here's my worry with that. My audio has dropped again. So I'm saying, oh boy, nothing is happening here. Nothing is happening here. All right.
You're gonna have to fix it.
Yeah, most definitely. It is something that we'd have to definitely address.
Okay, you're back.
I can actually see the...
You're gone again.
Yeah. I can actually see what is happening here. But... And I have absolutely no control over it. It just goes and comes as it pleases. I don't know. We may have to. Yeah. Nothing is happening here. An event. We're gonna take a break. We're gonna take a break, and then I'll come back. So stay with us, folks. We'll be back.
Have you heard about the new Softweave bathroom tissue with total hygiene? As hygiene and safety have taken center stage, our bathroom tissue is now manufactured with 3 different technologies to offer the best protection for you and your family. UVC light technology for a safe and effective disinfection process, eliminating 99.9% of microorganisms. Also, production at high temperatures, killing all types of germs and bacteria. And it's pH controlled with delicate fibers to prevent irritation for even sensitive skin. Softweave Total Hygiene Bathroom Tissue, available in supermarkets and shops island-wide. Visit Softweave Caribbean Facebook or Instagram pages for more information. Are you longing to taste authentic, flavorful dishes from Thailand? Then look no further. Konthai, the newest restaurant located at the back of Galleria Mall top floor, is the place to satisfy your taste buds for Thai dishes that are well seasoned with fresh local spices. They offer a great selection of sumptuous dishes that will tantalize your taste buds. Visit Konthai today because the food is good, the ambiance is great, and the staff friendly. Available on Carabites and Yogo Grenada. For more information, call 456-0074 or visit konthaigrenada.com or stop by the new Galleria Mall, Grand Anse St. George. I'll meet you there.
Records at the traffic department shows that a total of 1,447 accidents were reported for the year 2012, which includes 3 road fatalities. 2,946 accidents were reported for the year 2022, which includes 8 road fatalities. This is a significant increase of 104%. This is alarming. When a family tragically loses a loved one, does it matter whether by means of a gun or a motor vehicle? To avoid accidents, drivers and pedestrians alike must exercise extreme caution when using the road.
I want to control your anger. There's a way to feel better. That's one thing to remember. No matter where
name is Boogie B. And this is my partner here, Little John. Well, you know what's going on? GBN have a big thing coming up on the carnage. I want to beat Little John. And I'm going to beat Little John. You can't beat no anything that is dollar and roti. Yeah. You bring me down the road. Yo, let me sing the tune. No song. Bring it, tell him bring it song on the carnage. I don't have a meeting. Alright, but you don't know. GBN Spice of the Carnage live. Don't forget this year, 2025. Boogie B, Little John. Yo, mass. I'm gonna be there. He's gonna be there. You don't miss it.
The way them girl getting on ya, they making me hunger. I don't know how long. They shaking their bumper, they raising me temper. I'm right in the center, girl I feeling a pain.
Hey everyone, here is an invitation to join me this and every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. on GBN Television 711 K105 FM, our Facebook page and YouTube channel for Kaiso Talk. Meet the Kaisonians, hear their stories, feel the vibes. Kaiso Talk, Wednesdays 8:30 p.m. Compliments the Grenville Credit Union.
Have you heard about the new Softweed bathroom tissue with total hygiene? As hygiene and safety have taken center stage, our bathroom tissue is now manufactured with 3 different technologies to offer the best protection for you and your family. UVC light technology for a safe and effective disinfection process, eliminating 99.9% of microorganisms. Also, production at high temperatures, killing all types of germs and bacteria. And it's pH controlled with delicate fibers to prevent irritation for even sensitive skin. Softweave Total Hygiene Bathroom Tissue, available in supermarkets and shops island-wide. Visit Softweave Caribbean Facebook or Instagram pages for more information. Are you longing to taste authentic, flavorful dishes from Thailand? Then look no further. Konthai, the newest restaurant located at the back of Galleria Mall top floor, is the place to satisfy your taste buds for Thai dishes that are well seasoned with fresh local spices. They offer a great selection of sumptuous dishes that will tantalize your taste buds. Visit Konthai today because the food is good, the ambiance is great, and the staff friendly. Available on Carabites and Yogo Grenada. For more information, call 456-0074 or visit konthaigrenada.com or stop by the new Galleria Mall, Grand Anse St. George. I'll meet you there.
Records at the traffic department shows that a total of 1,447 accidents were reported for the year 2012, which includes 3 road fatalities. 2,946 accidents were reported for the year 2022, which includes 8 road fatalities. This is a significant increase of 104%. This is alarming.
I'll tell you, master, I'm ready. Girl, I'm ready. I don't care now. Jump up in the area, pull up in a ranger. They wanna who's a stranger. I don't care now. I don't care about the neighbor.
When a family tragically loses a loved one, does it matter whether by means of a gun or a motor vehicle? To avoid accidents, drivers and pedestrians alike must exercise extreme caution when using the road.
Okay, welcome back, folks. Well, let's hope that our little problem is rectified. I had one of my tech guys coming and have a look at it, and I think he was able to work a little magic. So, Doc, I trust that you're hearing me okay now.
Yes, I am hearing you.
All right, fantastic. So yeah, before the break, I was saying to you that. And you did mention that we need to teach our children some of these little skills that can actually help protect them. My concern with that, though, is the people who were supposed to teach them, are they aware of those skills themselves?
Like what skills you mean? Like, for example?
Yeah, the little life skills, how to protect themselves from, for example, burns and scalds, and, ensuring that they avoid, the falls that can hurt them and things like that. The people who are supposed to be teaching them, are they aware of these skills?
That's why we need all our children being brownies and scouts again. Brownies and Cub Scouts. And Girl Guides and Scouts, because those are places where we got those skills. But we also have the whole issue of health and family life education in school, and a lot of these things aren't really brought to the fore because there's just so much. But parents also have a responsibility for teaching their children survival skills.
But that's the thing. Do they know the survival skills?
I know. They can tell you, boy, don't jump off the bus. Or if you want, you could jump off the bus and bust your head and kill yourself. Because sometimes you get that kind of negative way of learning stuff. And he knows that when he jumps off the bus, he's not going to kill himself. He's not going to bust his head. Well, he thinks so. He doesn't understand. So that's some of the things and that's where community comes in, I believe. Teaching survivors. And like I tell you, I believe that there should be brownies and Cub Scouts and Scouts and Sea Scouts and Girl Guides and Rangers, and I know the Pathfinder movement does teach us some of those things. We need to have our children in organized environments.
And that's the thing. How many of our parents ensure that our children are involved in things like that? I mean, this is a concern. I believe a lot of the problems that we face, all of the concerns that we have, it is because of lack of information on the part of some of our parents. In some cases, they don't know, and so if you don't know, then how do you take action? So should we start over and have a serious campaign in probably trying to teach our parents, and so they can pass the information on?
Well, and I can tell you, I think that's where community organizations come in and take responsibility for the constituents, right? Life skills are something we learn out there. We learn some in school, yes, but holiday time is a good time to learn how to light wood fire and make sure you're safe and fire safety and how to be safe on the playground, You see some people stand up in a swing and swinging up, they forgetting if they go too far, the swing will go right over and they'll probably break their necks and all the rest of it. It doesn't happen all the time. And even teaching our young children how to get on and off the swing, how to come off the slide, how to do the push around thing and not to eat the sand. Those kind of stuff. Just those basic safety things. You know what you call them, jumpy bead, the little red and black ones?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Do you know that is very poisonous?
Yeah, it is. Children push this thing in the air, they do all sorts of funny things. I mean, as I know as a little boy.
You know that if you eat it, you will die. You can die.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I don't know of any Grenadian children who die from that.
Well, probably
named Jumpy.
Probably it went straight through.
No, because I've seen reports where it's considered one of the most toxic things for children in the world. But guess what? Our children play with it. We used to make bead and stuff with it in the summer. When we do in our handicraft, collect all the bead, and there's another grayish bead that we used to collect and make chain and stuff.
Yes, on the grass, Yes.
Yeah, collect seeds in the year, and drill hole and make bead and all the rest of it. You know, those are things that kids don't do. So our children are not going to get poisoned from jumpy bead, or they probably will because they don't know it's not supposed. You're not supposed to eat that. We are just told you don't put that in your mouth. As pretty as it is very pretty, red and black. But those are things, you know. What other poisons we can prevent ourselves from getting? Right? There are a lot of plants around us that are poisonous if you put them in your mouth. Right? The other plants, when you come in contact with them, like manganese and that are very, very toxic, and the zooty and those kind of things, right? We play in the bush, but we cannot still. We were told, right? Our children need to know those are survival skills that they need to have, and this is a good time, right? It's a pity that they have to learn the hard way.
Doc, I am almost certain if you ask a child now what is zooty, they don't know what is zooty.
Well, I'm some of my yard.
But if you ask them what is poagate, they don't know.
They cannot what?
They don't know. They don't know. And so you see, and that's the thing.
I'm going to share some of the plans for the community, the sports council. He just said that he's just got, they do have, so I hope he can share us some of the plans so we can share with the community. But no, the kids don't know because we don't teach them.
I think, let me tell you something, we have a major problem. I think with the passage of time, there's been a serious disconnect to a lot of things. So there are a lot of things that we left behind that we should have carried with us. Development. There are some things you leave as the journey continues. There are some things you drop, but there are some things that you definitely need to take along with you.
You must pass on traditional knowledge.
That's it.
Communities entertain themselves.
But I believe some of that knowledge was left behind, and so
unfortunately
it has created a problem, you know. So and
then there's a story of just being, you know, our kids do engage in sports, right? But how much do they know about being safe in the sports that they have? Wearing gears. There's a reason why you wear gears that's in some of the sports that they tend not to, and having proper gear to play the sports that they want to engage in. So as much as we want them to be active, we must ensure that we can get them up and make sure they're protected from harming themselves. You know? One of the things, go ahead.
You know, one of the callers earlier mentioned about some activities during holiday. For example, like boys going to the tailor shop to learn to sew and to the mechanic shop and things like that. But guess what? How many of those do we have now? I think gradually we probably won't even have some of these anymore, because everybody's shopping on Shein and where and Temu and Old Navy and Amazon and everything.
Buying disposable clothes.
Well, so if you don't have the one or two tailor shops that probably still remaining, I mean, how many children can they accommodate?
That the one or two tailor shops that all they do is just really adjust the pants that you buy in the store.
Now let's still sew the uniforms for like, you know, the teachers and so, especially the female teachers. They gotta make the little suit and thing for, you know, the reopening of school.
For school.
Yeah, the little pants and the jacket and things like that. So there's still a couple of them around, you know.
So
but
there are kids who are actually involved in extreme sports, and the ones who get trained kind of know the safety measures. Have you ever seen kids play extreme frisbee or do the extreme bike riding and stuff?
No. The frisbee, I don't even see frisbees around anymore.
I see two kids playing frisbee today, and one of them could hardly catch. and the one who threw it wasn't even throwing it so fast. And these are young adolescents. I'm like, oh, please.
And we've lost a lot. Even the softball cricket, the wind ball cricket. I mean, we played cricket with young breadfruit. We played cricket with gospo. We made compo, all kind of thing. And these things. I mean, I recall. In Tivoli where we lived, we had probably about 6 or 7 little cricket sides on Sunday. You go in and play cricket, and in somebody's yard, in somebody's yard you go and play cricket and things like that. So all of these things happened during the school vacation. And even outside, like on a Sunday afternoon, you go down and play cricket. And these things
No. You go down and play ball.
You go down and play ball. And these things, they helped with the development of children in sports. So you start there, and as time go by, you graduate, and you start going and practice with them big fellas.
Is it because a lot of the sports and activities have been looked at as professional? One, you play a sport because you want to take it on seriously. And now with the Ministry of Sports looking at physical, oh God, I couldn't remember the word. Where you're accustomed, you get accustomed to being physical. There's a word, and Alvin is going to kill me. But where people know that movement is part of that part of life, and how much it enhances well-being for all of us, right? And so playing a game, whether you're going to play rounders, ring of roses, cricket, badminton, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, right? Whether they're going to play run up and down in a sack, it doesn't matter. All it means is that everybody who's in the environment is engaged in some form of movement, okay? Something that keeps them physically well. And yes, you may develop what is your personal skill. In all of this, you may become a good archer. You may become a good basketball player or lawn tennis player or swimmer, whatever it is. But the very act of being physically active is something that is put into consideration as part of your normal life.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what the Ministry of Sports, and through the sports councils, trying to embed into communities, just getting physically active. Everybody doing what they can, and that would include our children who have disabilities. That it must be an all-inclusive situation. Everybody has equal rights to be in there, right? As much as you're able to, according to your ability, as I say. One of the things we want to consider, because we say every holiday somebody drown. We want to make sure that the children are very aware of water safety and how we do drowning prevention. We spoke about swimming. And you mentioned in the beginning, I almost try not to think about the issue in Texas and the sweeping away of dozens of very little innocent children.
The death toll has now moved above 100.
And we still have 100 and some people missing that we know about, right? So that awareness we have to create around ourselves. Because I want to tell you what I've seen. I've seen boys, male beings, humans, not being cautious around dangerous places. So they're the ones who get broken hands and broken foot and bust head and who drown or near drown. Do you understand? Who have difficulty when they get into some physical environment. And we have to learn to teach children how to protect themselves. They have to know that anything you do that's physical, you're in danger of being affected. Right? So as much as we want our children to go there and run up and down and play, we want them to know as well that they can be facing danger.
Yeah, there are risks involved. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's risky, and parents have to keep on reinforcing that whole issue. I want to talk about the hot weather, because I think it's one of our biggest challenge. You know, we encourage our children to stay hydrated. Apart from the nutritional part of it, there's a lot of fruits and stuff. Mango is always cheap and available in the summer. What else we have now? What else? I know there are a lot of ripe bananas and stuff around.
Golden apples are coming in.
Golden apples don't come in until November, but everything is crazy because none of my mangoes in Lamood have produced any mangoes. There has been some change in what happens as a result of the hurricane last year and just climate change. But there's fruit and stuff. Remember to wash the fruits, please, 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 please. Whatever you do, wash your fruits, because we still have a lot of vectors around, like rats and stuff, other rodents that can cause things like leptospirosis. Say mango might fall, you want to wash it so that you don't get worms. We want to make sure that our children's nutritional state remain well, not as good as it is when they're in school. And so it means that parents and caregivers have to provide nutrition that is comparative to what they get in the school year. They have to do that. We also need to make sure that hydration is provided. Water, no sodas for children, no sugar sweetened beverages. This is a good time so that the children can get water. They can have fruits and have water. That will help keep them, but they have to be hydrated. Not just the children. Remember the grandma and grandpa in the house. Grandma and grandpa in the house who cannot help themselves. Right? So we have to think about those things as well. Get outside. I'm sorry, I'm having challenge with my dog. Just come inside. We have to think about making sure children drink water and not sugar sweetened. Can we take a break, please? I'm sorry, I have to send this.
Okay, so we take a short one and we'll be back. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I want you to control your anger. There's a way to feel better. That's one thing to remember. No matter where you are, you can be a star. Stop and take a deep breath and relax yourself. Take another deep breath and relax it. Eliminate violence.
Bang, well, you know, my name is Boogie B. And this is my partner here, John. Well, you know what's going on? GBN have a big thing coming up on the Canada. I want to beat Little John. And I'm going to beat Little John. You can't beat no anything that is dollar and roti. Yeah. You bring me down. Yo, let me sing the truth. No song. Tell him bring his song on the Carnage. I have a meeting. Alright, but you don't know. GBN Spice of the Carnage live. Don't forget this year, 2025. Boogie B, Little John. Yo, Mass. I'm going to be there. He's going to be there. You don't be sweat.
The way them y'all getting on ya, they making me hunger. I don't know how long I got wait again. They shaking their bumper, they raising me temper. I'm right in the center, y'all are feeling a pain.
Have you heard about the new Softweave bathroom tissue with total hygiene? As hygiene and safety have taken center stage, our bathroom tissue is now manufactured with 3 different technologies to offer the best protection for you and your family. UVC light technology for a safe and effective disinfection process, eliminating 99.9% of microorganisms. Also, production at high temperatures, killing all types of germs and bacteria. And it's pH controlled with delicate fibers to prevent irritation for even sensitive skin. Softweave Total Hygiene Bathroom Tissue, available in supermarkets and shops island-wide. Visit Softweave Caribbean Facebook or Instagram pages for more information.
Okay, welcome back, folks, and we do apologize for the little interruptions we've been experiencing this evening. In fact, Doc, we're getting close to wrap-up time, so yeah, you can probably finish off on that point you were making, and then we can look to wrap for this evening.
No, so we're just talking about hydration and nutrition, which I think are very important. But because it's so very hot, we have to make sure children are properly hydrated. There's always a possibility of not just severe dehydration, but having things like heat strokes. If your child becomes so dehydrated, becomes confused, you have to take him to the hospital. Don't try to give him anything. Please go to the hospital. His skin become dry and ashy and all the rest of it. Please take the child to the hospital. All right? It's very, very hot. And a kid might be out there playing, or he's so busy on his iPad or whatever tablet he's playing with, he doesn't realize it's become so hot that he hasn't had. And if he just sips the soda, when the soda is finished, he probably wouldn't take as much more as he needed. And of course, for outdoorsy children, we really have to make sure that they have enough hydration, even more than the kids who are inside the house. It's very, very important. I want us to consider our adolescents and the risk they are at. Our young people are vaping. And when they don't have supervision, they will vape more. Our young people are more at risk for getting into hanky-panky activities, for sexual behaviors, for looking at wrong kind of videos, being led for smoking, for doing drugs. So parents are asked to remind them what their options are, right? Because they don't have as much supervision. They probably don't need, unless if you teach them, behaviors. But once they're not around, look out for changed behaviors. Look out for them becoming isolative. They have other issues like, getting acne and being very self-conscious and staying away. There are problems of bullying, which also happens otherwise, because children are out there, they're not in school, there's not that protective environment anymore. So think, and please let's keep talking to our children so we could know whatever challenges they're having.
Yes.
This summer is a good time, however, to revisit the general physical and mental well-being of our children by taking them to see their primary care physicians. So when a child goes back to school in September, the child should have had at least one visit. Your doctor tends to check check to see if they're anemic, whether they have any problems. Is the child asthmatic? Has he been having more? Is it a child with sickle cell? How do we keep him hydrated and well? Is a girl who has period problems? How are we going to manage that so she doesn't miss so much school? Is my child hearing well? How is the vision? All of those tests, all of those checks we need to do for our children. We're going to treat them for worms because they eat from each other and they don't wash their hands and a whole other stuff. So there are parasites that we have. Okay? We need to make sure that our children are taken to their primary care. Above all, are my children's vaccines up to par? Okay, my children's vaccines up to par. It is important because we still have measles and chicken pox and other things that go around, and measles, which can be very dangerous. We've seen upsurge in measles in North America because of non-vaccination of our children. Mm-hmm. But parents can make that decision. Just make sure you keep your child safe by getting your child appropriately vaccinated. Okay, there is a vaccine plan that we use for our children. Starting from birth, right? Please make sure your child is vaccinated. Sometimes our children have problems in the school that we really don't pay attention to, and one of them is vision. We see our children not doing very well because they're just not seeing anything on the board, or they might not be hearing properly. They might just have wax in their ears that needs to be cleared out. All of those things. Just take your child for a general checkup, whether it's in a health center or your pediatrician or regular general practitioner. Your child needs to be checked. Okay? Problem with short foot, backache, right? The heavy bags they carry to school. All of those things. This is a really, really good time to check them out. And of course, your children should go for a dental check.
Indeed,
okay, if they haven't had a dental check, in the summer is a very good time to go. Just get a prophylaxis, get them clean, look to make sure they don't have any cavities. Make sure that they brush, that they taught how to brush again, and that they're brushing regularly. And we're going to put toothpaste and toothbrush into their school bags as part of the routine for all the junk that they eat in school that we don't have any control over. It is very important that we do all of that. for children who are overweight, this is a good time to encourage them to eat well. This is a good time to change the way, so you can see how they respond.
Yeah, use all of the fruits that are in season. There's quite a bit of fruits
season,
now.
Become a little more active, change their lives around. And I think some of us just don't understand how much of our children who are overweight are bullied, right? And I see a lot more children being quite overweight. Parents don't see it as anything, they see it as natural. But we have ways of measuring whether a child is in the right weight for his age and gender. Okay? So we need to look at that and while we prevent the chronic diseases that follow. There's an article I was reading today where the Australians are saying, Australia, which is a first world country, and who have good health care, are saying that they're seeing cancers appear in an earlier population. While we do not know, we have to remove things like obesity and the nutrition that we give our children. Are we eating too much artificial food? Yes, we are. A lot of us don't give our children green fig and yam and breadfruit and stuff because I eat too much of that as a child. Luckily for you, that's why you're healthy today. And we give our children all these highly processed products. They're not even considered food. Okay? So let's make sure that we can. I'm not saying not to give a child a treat once in a while, but it must not be the rule. It must be
not the routine. Yes.
Yeah, you go on a picnic, you can eat a little cake, extra cake, and that fried chicken and chips. I go to cricket and all they have to eat is fried chicken and chips. I go to sports, all they have is fried chicken and chips. We have to figure out how are we going to make sure nobody sells a fruit cup so you can enjoy. Nobody sells even coconut water. Nobody sells a Morby that's not so, that's kind of brackish that you can enjoy on a hot day. So we have to revisit how we are going to ensure that our children are well. They need to start the school year much better than they ended it. It doesn't matter how well it ended for them physically, right? And this is a good time to sit with your child and see where children have challenges in their reading and stuff. Because, you mightn't have time when you're hurrying to go to school in the morning, but know the kid's not in class, you really should ensure that you can spend a little time with them reading and see where their shortcomings are and where they need help so that they can be on par or even ahead of their peers when the year starts.
Yes, indeed. Well, Doc, I just want to close by, appealing to our parents, that during the holidays is a very important time to sort of reconnect. We know, most times parents are out working, trying to keep things going, but during the holiday when the children are home, it's a good time to reconnect, and you can learn from the children as well, you can learn from asking them questions, question them about, what they learn in school. They would tell you, and there are things that as parents you don't know, and you can learn from the children. So it's a good time to have these kinds of conversations, and
have conversations, yes.
Yeah, chat with them, find out what's going on, find out what they've learned, find out what they're interested in. For example, what might be their favorite subjects in school. Check out the report cards, see where they're excelling, see where they are weak. There are a lot of things you can do that you probably don't have as much time during the, normal school period to do. So you can use that, to sort of get involved and reconnect. And I'm sure, in some ways it can and will help, So just want to put that out there. I also want to say that I still believe as an individual that there are some things that are for children and there are some things that are not. And I want to appeal to parents to try and make that distinction. Not everywhere you go, your child has to be with you. There are some environments that it will be a very good idea to keep them away from, at this stage. As time grows older, they probably may, get into it. But children, I'm seeing seeing the 5-year-old and the 4-year-old and the 3-year-old, in places, in my opinion, they should not be. It's not a nice thing, because you get them exposed to that kind of thing, and heaven knows what is going to happen down the line. So, this is just food for thought.
And when you go with them, because I like children playing carnival and stuff, I do. But I think parents must be on the sideline, seeing to their security, seeing that they're hydrated, seeing that, that they're safe. They can enjoy themselves, this kiddies carnival, but parents must be present on the side, right, to make sure that the child is safe, having as much fun as he can. And sometimes I look at 3-year-old need a little jockey now and then, okay? They need a little lift. You must be there. I want to pay a special tribute to one of my mom's friends who actually passed today. So she had one kid, and my mom had 3 or 4 of us, right? And I remember my mom saying, I never went anywhere when you guys were little unless she was going. Mm-hmm. So she could help her mommy with one of us to make sure we all were safe. And so I want to pay a special tribute to Miss Wilder tonight, who passed away in New York this evening. Mm-hmm. And thank her for the community parenting. The community parenting that I had, because I had all these people around who make sure that in the summer the duties of parenting were shared, and we weren't even blood relatives. So may she rest in peace. I just want to pay that special tribute to her.
Well, thank you very much, Doc. It was a pleasure as always. Folks, don't forget you can join us next week for another program. Tomorrow evening, Kaiso Talk. The great Cecil Bell from Flying Turkey will be joining us, so you don't want to miss that conversation. So thank you again for staying with us, and remember, folks, please, it's holiday time. Please pay attention to the children. Thank you. Do have a good night. All the best.
Broadcast.